Man, this is just sounding really weird, like eye juices and poking needles into eyeballs, but yeah, that's exactly how it's done. And hello, stop motioneers. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Dragon Stop Motion. Now, Dragon Stop Motion is a fantastic program. It's the one that we're using to put our whole film together. In Dragon, you can literally control almost everything that the camera does, which, as Todd was saying, we're using the Canon T2i, which is the best compatible camera with Dragon Stop Motion. And in Dragon, you can control some of the shots, you can take pictures with the program, you can delete things, you can scroll through the whole timeline, add audio. One of the cool functions is you can actually change the exposure and the f-stop and all that kind of stuff in the program. When you shoot in RAW, it takes several different photos. It takes high quality JPEGs, a couple different photos, and the RAW files as well. So if the RAW, for some unknown reason, if you really didn't want to use the RAW file, then you can just go with a high quality JPEG. We're shooting 24 frames a second, and I've learned a lot of the animating techniques from The Advanced Art of Stop Motion by Ken Preeb, which is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. A lot of different techniques are talked throughout it about timing. Several of the things that I find that I've kind of learned is that the shortest shot that you can pretty much make is about 4 frames without it looking really jarring. If you're going to do a movement, have it at least 4 frames, and that's like the quickest pretty much with 24 frames a second. And a lot of the pauses, you can have at least maybe, I think, 16 frames, something like that, before it looks like your puppet has completely stopped moving. So stop motion is really all about the movements and exaggerated movements. So anything that you have, like if he's scared, you need to really exaggerate it, like get his hands into it, get like full body, just kind of frightened. The eyelids are actually just baking clay that I just kind of fit around the eyeballs and then baked it. And the one problem that we actually ran into is how we were going to get the eyeballs to stay in the head. And so we actually use Vaseline to keep it in the eye socket, so it can move around freely. And even if some of the Vaseline gets on the eyeball, it looks like it's just like eye juice kind of thing. And the way we actually move the eyeballs is that they're beads that we painted the whole of the bead black, so you have the pupil. And then we just take little pins and we just stick it in the eye hole, and then but yeah, that's exactly how it's done. And as we've talked about in a lot of the puppet things, we put jaw wires in the mouth so we can actually manipulate the mouth, and so we can get a range of different expressions. We use rare earth magnets to hold down our puppets. We were going to originally have them in the feet, but with silicone and everything, it would kind of like pull it out of the feet. So what we do is we actually have the rare earth magnets holding down kind of like cardboard and that kind of stuff, like holding down their feet, and then we keep their feet out of a lot of the shots. And if we do need their feet in some of the shots, then we use some of these rigs that we have hooked up to them. So you take a shot of the scene with nothing in it, and then you put your puppet where you want to put it and everything, and attach the rig to it, so you can actually mask it out in After Effects. The rig wire is aluminum wire. It's really bendable, same kind of stuff that we used in the puppets. And as you can see, the bottom of our set is completely hollowed out. So I can reach underneath and put the magnets all underneath it, so it goes through the floor and you can attach it to the top. The thing that I find is when you are actually moving, you need to make sure that each movement, if you are doing a consistent movement, that the spacing is consistent, or else it'll really look very jittery. And another thing that I learned from the Advanced Art of Stop Motion is that a lot of stop motion moves in arcs. A nice feature of Dragon is that you can actually plot points on the actual screen along the timeline, so you can see how far you want to move it. So it'll have like little arrows where you can point to it. And there's also a feature where if you draw the dots where you want it to go, then it'll automatically just draw an arc for you. And it's really, really quite handy, and it keeps you on track. For a lot of the movements, you need to ease in and out of them, or else they look very kind of direct and moving. So you space the frames apart, like farther at the beginning, and then at the end you just kind of space them closer together. And if you really want to get into it, if you notice in a lot of stop motion films like Corpse Ride and Coraline, all this kind of stuff, a lot of the movements have a lot of like bounce to them. So what you can do to get that kind of effect is you just ease, like when you get to the bottom, you don't ease out as much, so you don't put the frames closer together. You just kind of go back up and then you ease out. So then it gives this nice little kind of bouncing feature to it that a lot of these films have in their puppets, and it almost gives them a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of extra realism to them, so they're not just kind of like moving like robots, really. So I don't know, it gives it a little bit of extra life.